Hey, everybody. We are pretty much to the new year. So I thought today we would do something maybe a little bit similar to New Year's resolutions. Not quite, but we're going to talk about relationship rituals today. So, rituals and traditions are things that within couples build emotional connection. And this could also be with your family or your friends as well. Rituals and traditions could be with all sorts of different types of relationships. But they send a message to the people in our lives that they are important, that this relationship is important. It can foster a sense of community. You're not alone. We're in this together. They might just be for a season of our lives, but we can really kind of come back to some very fond memories with this. So, some that I remember from growing up within my own family of origin, so with my parents and my older brother, I can remember my mom was so good at this, like, of kind of like when especially when we were really young, just distracting us, like, when we would go out to a restaurant, we always played the game I Spy, in a restaurant, and I also remember after every, like, visit to the doctor, like, just seeing your pediatrician or whatever, I don't know why this was, but after every single time my mom would take my brother and me, we would always go eat at this cafeteria called Luby's, and my dad would join us from work. So I don't know if you could. So Luby's is definitely in Texas. I don't know what other states Luby's is in, but it's basically like this cafeteria style restaurant. Nothing super special, although I happen to love Luby's. But I sometimes wonder if I especially love it because when I go there, it just reminds me of this kind of ritual that we had when we were younger. During the holiday season, we also picked up on the ritual or tradition, probably like some of you, of having the pickle ornament on the tree, and whoever finds it first on Christmas morning gets like a little prize or something like that. So I want to say that's a Dutch tradition. I could be wrong, but anyway, I think we picked it up at some point. So fortunately, between my brother and me, I was always the one. I was a little bit more of an earlier riser than my brother, so I think there was one year that he got the pickle, but I got it the rest of the years. So I am very fond of that tradition, if I do say so myself. But we stopped it at some point. And I can remember years ago, kind of when we were more like teenagers, but before we could drive, after school on a Friday, my mom would stop at the video store. Do y'all remember stores like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video? Isn't that crazy now to think about that? But we would go pick up a VHS and have a Friday movie night with the entire family, and my mom or dad would make popcorn and yeah, so gosh, we had so many different, rituals and traditions growing up that didn't last for years and years and years, but for the time that they did last, were really wonderful, and I have some very fond memories. So it's interesting with Jake and me, we've been married a little over 3 years, and gosh, just with different things with job stuff and moving and being on different schedules, because you guys know Jake used to work offshore and now he works on night shifts and all that. I have to be honest, we've had a hard time kind of establishing some pretty regular rituals, but we are very excited to develop some new ones now that we're both here in Virginia, and hopefully the night shift thing will change at some point, and that'll make it easier to kind of do some rituals. But we used to do pizza and wine every Friday night. So I want to say that changed just whenever his schedule changed to night shift, which makes sense. But anyway, we're excited to create a lot more rituals for ourselves. So this is just something that, again, in your own relationship, you can just be creative, and it just helps to build that emotional connection and something to look back on. So I noticed in working with a lot of women, there's a lot of vulnerability to asking about rituals or creating rituals because depending on the age of your kids, there might be a lot of pushback. Maybe depending on the personality, temperament, or um, maybe the work stress or whatever of your partner, there might be quite a bit of pushback there. So I find that a lot of times some of my clients would really want to create rituals and tradition, but it's so vulnerable to ask for that and kind of risk rejection in a sense. And so my heart breaks for that because I think rituals and traditions can be so wonderful. So we kind of talk through that and ways to ask about it that maybe would foster more of a sense of community instead of a sense of rejection, and finding ways to compromise and all of that. Um, I have one really good girlfriend who's great about this ritual with her kids. And I know that they have some kind of nighttime ritual where she and her husband go to tuck in each of their kids. And I think that they just ask them a series of questions about their day, something to that effect anyway. And the parents are the ones who started it. But now my girlfriend tells me that she'll be downstairs finishing up dishes or finishing working for the day or something. And one of her kids will be in bed and yelling downstairs, like, come ask me my questions or something like that. So now her kids really look forward to it, and it's definitely part of their day. But, rituals could be anything. I mean, it could just be a ritual of having coffee together in the morning before the kids wake up. Or if you don't have kids, it's having coffee in the morning together and enjoying that time before you have kids. And maybe you don't have as much time to do something like that. So a ritual could be, a kiss on the lips whenever you guys get home from work or something like that. It really and truly could just be anything. So, what are some rituals of connection that you already have? And are there any regular rituals or maybe special occasion rituals that you'd like to establish? What have you kind of thought of? And what would it be like to ask your partner about this? So, I want to give you guys lots of encouragement to explore the area of rituals in your relationship. And as we close out December, want to wish everyone a happy new year. And I'll see you in 2020.